looking at taxation and the January 1st pronouncements, speculations from last year that taxes are going to be imposed on so many frivolities, incomes, perishable goods, investments, prospects, and all that. And there have been a lot of questions being asked, answers not coming. Questions that do not know where the answers are going to be coming from. Nigerians have been inundated by a lot of speculations and proxy answers, as the case may be. Social media has been filled with a lot of pronouncements and personal opinions relating to the tax policies of this administration. What are those policies? What are the implications of the tax policies? How true are some of these insinuations being projected and postulated by a lot of pundits on social media, print and electronic media? To throw more light on issues being raised on different media, we have two very wonderful gentlemen in the studio with us. And of course, I'm going to be starting from my far left, a very, very pronounceable personality in terms of public affairs analysis. Please, let's make welcome Comrade Enite Egere. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, and of course I have a lecturer from the Department of Accountancy, Denso Sadebe University, Dr. Akan David. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Glad to have you.
Myths or facts, we've had a lot of issues being raised about taxations and of course the government's policy on coming about taxing the people, the citizens in 2020. Let me start with you, Dr. Akan. What is your understanding of this policy of government to go into serious taxation of different strata of the society?
All right. In June 2025, they enacted 4 laws. One is the Nigerian Tax Act 2025, effective 1st January this year. The other one is the Nigerian Tax Administration Act 2025, also effective this year, January 1st. The NRS Act and the Nigeria Revenue Joint Revenue Board Act. Now, these laws were enacted for the purpose of bringing together the policies, both at the federal, state, and local government, so that they can harmonize all. Secondly, to make it easier for the lower class, to be able to live a better life in Nigeria, while the higher class, the elite, or people we call the bourgeois, to pay more money that they will use to run the environment for the lesser ones. I think it's a good idea, and it's working. It will work for all if the spirit of the latter is the same with what we are seeing, then it will work.
All right, Enite Egere, I think let's look at the issue. Let's get your overview of the tax policy of this administration, vis-a-vis the implications on the excuse me, on the downtrodden, as the case may be, in the society, because there've been a lot of insinuations that this is a strangulation of the less privileged, but then technocrats have come out to say that is not it. Let's throw more light on that.
Okay, like the professional here, the doctor has said, the truth is the administration has looked at it, and if you look at the laws, if you read through, though they are bulky laws to read through, but if you look at those really salient things that affects the common man, you find that it's a tax friendly, it's a poor common man's tax. Because a lot of the things that before now were being taxed are no longer being taxed. For instance, there's no taxation for agricultural products, there's no taxation for loans, there are a lot of things that taxes have been really removed. And if you look at the minimum wage, the person who earns the minimum wage now for now will not pay tax. So it's a progressive tax where those at the top echelon bear the burden more than those at the bottom. But the problem we have is that I think it's how we communicate in the country, because before now, prior to June 2025, the issue of taxation was whether one region wanted it or the other region doesn't want it. And so people lost the true meaning of it in that terms of rhetorics of is a pro-north, pro-south tax. But now that has come to implementation, it's now that we are not talking about those nitty-gritties that we should have been talking about since June. Because if I had known, or if the poor man has known that there's no taxation for agricultural products, and even businesses, even there's a threshold of profit you can make before you are taxed. And funny enough, Nigerians don't even know that you are not taxed based on what you have, you are taxed on profit. Because that's what this taxation is, these laws are going to do. And it eliminates all these multiple taxations that we've been seeing. So if, like he said, it is applied to the spirit of that law, it's something that the country will benefit from. And you have more people coming into the tax net rather than increasing the tax rates for people. So I think it's a very good one.
Yeah, it's been a very good one, quite interesting. But let's look at some facts of this tax regimen of the government. Government is reducing existing taxes on the masses. That's a good one. Secondly, your bank account will not be debited from January 2026. And small businesses will enjoy a lot of reliefs. And the states will be more fairly treated. And of course, the tax reform is about stimulating development, and also capital gains tax exemption applies to all investors, 99% unconditionally. I like that part, and you're going to throw more light on that part for us, please. Capital gains tax exemption applies to all investors, 99%. And another part that's interesting to note again, that the minimum wage earners are exempted from pay as you earn. That means those that are earning 70,000 are not going to be taxed. And of course, gifts and remittances are not subject to taxation. Nigerians in the diaspora will not be taxed. And finally, pension and retirement benefits are tax exempted. Quite an interesting one. But let me speak, and I will go back and forth with both of you. For you, I want to give you one very important question. It's capital gains. You are an accountant and of course a tax expert. We're looking at capital gains right now, and they're saying that there's an exemption that applies to all investors. Wouldn't that discourage investors from coming and are going to be taxed? There's a capital gains tax exemption applies. That means, okay, yes, we'll say that it applies to 99. That means it's an interesting platform. So let's give us an guess.
All right. Let's start this way.
So that investors come here and be attracted.
Yeah, let's start this way. The Nigerian Tax Act has a threshold for revenue before the company is taxed. So you must be able to get to 50 million, according to the Nigerian Tax Act, revenue, or the Nigerian Tax Administration Act says 100 million for VAT. Okay, whichever. And your total assets must not be more than 250 million. Once you are within that threshold, you are exempted from tax, from CIT, from capital gain tax, from value added tax. Are you getting it now? But once you exceed that threshold, then
you are a big man for you to exceed that threshold.
But a lot of companies exceed it.
Yes,
A
lot, really.
But it's
majority of the companies are within that range of exemption.
Yes, a lot of companies are within that range, and it's even more interesting because right now you can now use VAT input from assets, from your overhead costs, to bring down VAT payable. That is even the most interesting part, because you can imagine where you have an asset that is 100 million and you take 7.5 from it. You see, so invariably it will be like a tax credit to you. You pay less VAT over a long period of time. Yes.
Yes, Gary, let me come to you. We're looking at we talked about the issue of taxes on pension, because there've been a lot of social media has not been too palatable in the last couple of months relating to these tax reforms. A lot of personal opinions have been posted on social media. So let's understand gifts and remittances. For example, Nigerians are known to be very evasive and crafty. Now, when somebody is for instance, you and I do a business, and my own share of that business is looking like maybe 100 million, for example. It's supposed to be taxed, am I right? Now, if you are paying, sending the money to me, and they said gifts and remittances are exempted, and the narration shows a gift or something, or maybe whatever, that is not supposed to be taxed, how is government planning to close those loopholes? Because our biggest problem is plugging those loopholes.
Funny enough, you have professionals running this system. And I was listening to Zakadede, the chairman of NRS or NRC, Nigerian Revenue Service, and he was saying something. He said, it's not about the narration, because people are thinking if you write gifts, you write this. No, it's no longer going to be that narration. Okay. You see, if you understand the American tax system, because gradually that's where we are going, where you report yourself. You are the one who files your tax. You have if you are doing your company,
exactly.
Yeah, you have your company. You have to have an auditor, a tax person that will do your books. You see, it's pushing more responsibility to you, so that when even you are now found wanting, it's difficult for you to take yourself out. So somehow the government knows that it's not. The government is not in the business of trying to just increase taxation, but it wants to widen the net. It wants to bring more Nigerians into this system. At first, that's true. Over time, because the culture, see, nobody likes tax. From the Bible days, they hated the master. Yes. So it's always like that. The taxman is always the bad guy. But you see, the more you bring more people in, and they find that tax is not punitive, rather it's your own contribution to the commonwealth to make the society grow. You have more persons, doing well. So what government is doing, that government has looked at it. For instance, where we are going into a single digit, a single code for everybody. Because whether you like it or not, whether it's BVN or NIN, it's going to be collapsed. So that's why they are telling you that they don't even need you to have your tax ID. Your NIN suffices or your BVN suffices, whatever. So as they're going, they begin to know. Your transactions will show. You follow the money, you follow the trade. You will know this is not a gift, this is a transaction between A and B. And a lot of benefits, for instance, from January 1st to now, prior January 1st, you send money, I pay, you pay. But now it's only one person that pays. They only say that. So gradually, the body.
Are you saying it has started being
implemented? January 1st, yes. Only the sender.
Only the sender of the money pays. Because I noticed it. Because sender, receiver, pay. I will receive money, they will deduct from me.
January 1st, now it has to.
Yeah, still talking.
Then again, I want to add something to this. 100 million. This tax law is also pro-ICT. Okay. Yes. So when you send money to me, the source from where the money is coming from is also known. Yeah. So that person cannot say, okay, I give a gift. You can only give a gift from profits.
Yeah. Let's look at it. In fact, you have answered the question technically. Now, Egere and Company pays me 200,000 and says it's a gift. No. So I think that answers. Now, quite an interesting narration, because a lot of people are seeking for qualitative, intellectual interpretation of issues relating to this taxation, and we're looking at the tax law vis-a-vis the implications for a lot of people. Now let's look at when will the new tax has it actually taken effect? When will it take effect?
Yes, it has taken effect. The Nigerian Tax Act and the other 4 acts took effect 1st January 2026. So it's in full implementation now as we speak.
Full implementation.
But let me put it in clarity. It took effect from June 2025. Once a law, a bill is signed into law, it's taken about the implementation. Okay. If not, it started since last year. It's just implementation now, because you have to give the companies time to adjust. So everybody adjusted 1st January.
Now let's look at transfers to personal accounts, transfers and deposits to my own personal accounts. Are they going to be taxed? Because those are questions the layman asks every day. The market woman, how those individual transfers? Because we have a lot of market women that do businesses that run into hundreds of thousands, millions. How? So personal transfers to my personal account.
Yes, if you run a personal transfer from your own account, it will also show. That's why I said it is pro ICT. So when you go, even without narration, it will show account debit to account debit.
So will it be taxed?
Nothing will happen to it. It's just a deposit, yes.
Apart from the normal banking charge.
Yes.
Yeah, because because we really need to be informed. Now we're looking at another critical question. When a respondent asked me a question, he says that he owns a company name. Now, sometimes when people give him money, in order not, because the company name, the company uses checkbook, it's a dual signatory, wife and one person, and the person, a wife or siblings and all that. So now, sometimes when they dash him money, because he doesn't want to have access, easy access to the funds, he transfers this money to the company account, for example. And if it keeps transferring to the company account, and he wants to make a withdrawal, is that money going to be now taxed? He wants to make a withdrawal to his personal account to be able to make transfers and all that. Will the money still be taxed?
I think first, there's something you must understand.
Yeah.
It's like, let me put it this way, it's like me putting meat in stew, and I want to put it now in egusi. I say there will be no stew in egusi. You see, sometimes when you're doing accounting, especially if you're a business person, your books have to be your books. It's difficult, you are putting yourself into a difficult situation. It's now like trying to explain everything. Your personal account should be different from your company account. Because any money that goes into your company account is essentially business money. So if you are now telling me you want to, one would have thought that the easiest way to save it would have been even in your private account.
What if the narration from my coming from?
It's not your narration.
When I'm coming from the private, from Enite Egere's account to Enite Egere and Sons Nigeria Limited.
See, whether you say Nigeria, that is, especially if it's a limited liability company, it's an entity of its own.
It's an enterprise, for example.
Even if it's enterprise, but it's business. So remember, the threshold of profit will work on it, because at the end of the day, when the taxman comes, it's the threshold of profit. If that money you are putting there makes your threshold of profit to exceed what it should be for it to be non-taxable, you are the one who has shot yourself in the foot. You should run your business as your business. And funny enough, what I like about this new tax law is that it makes professionals handle the issue of taxation. Now, those people who read accounting, especially taxation, they now have jobs, because companies will need their services. You can't sit down and do your tax alone now. Yeah. It's not like those days where people will just come and say, I will just pay this amount. No, and it's even beautiful now. I remember last year, some of my friends had to pay, they say you've not done your returns. Even when they did not make more profit, they pay. The FRS there, they will pay monies. But now, no, it's based on profit. So it's a good one. It stimulates business, it stimulates the economy.
Stimulating business, stimulating the economy. If you're just joining us, it's the faculty, a public affairs program on Delta Broadcasting Service Television every weekday. We're looking at the taxation policy of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Two great men are with me in the studio, Enite Egere and of course Dr. Akam David, will train more lights on x-raying the pros and cons of taxation. Now let's look at the very important question. Now, will tax authorities now monitor bank accounts of businesses more closely? These are questions laymen have been asking.
Definitely, yes. Just as I said, it is through ICT. So what it means is that all your transactions are going to be monitored, but not with the intention to debit you. No.
Okay, not with the intention,
to debit you. They just want to have an idea. For example, the last question you asked, why is a difficult situation like the Honorable said? The truth of the matter is that it is still bearing your name against your name. That is your name against the company, and you are the owner of the company, even though it's a different entity. The only thing the government is going to tax is revenue, income, not the money in your account. Though as a tax expert, I will always advise you not to do so. Okay. So that you don't put yourself in a precarious situation where you now need to begin to explain, bring documents and all that. But whatever enters your account, be it a company or a limited liability company or a business name, it's the revenue part that will be taxed.
It's the revenue part that will be taxed.
Definitely.
Not quite an interesting one, looking very interesting, I tell you, but I want to believe that Nigerians are learning from what we're saying. What about issues of loans? We're talking of loans that will I pay on tax? The loan I borrow from maybe loans are exempted. And of course...
yes, but again, so that people be careful. If you get a loan from a bank, there are documentation.
Yes.
If you get a loan from a friend, you must also have documentation. If not, it will not be regarded as a loan.
Okay, it will not be regarded as a
loan.
loan.
And what must be documented?
You must have documentation that must show that yes, this money that is entering your account, I gave it to you as a loan and you need to pay back.
Yes, let me get back to you, Egere. We're looking at the implications of taxation in Nigeria. Before the June pronouncement by government to effective implementation of the tax policies for 2026, there have been taxation going on. Nigeria have been taxed from the airports through the immigration, the custom taxation. We've had IGR rules as a country, we've had IGR rules as states of the federation, and there was such a time a certain governor of a certain state who wasn't getting federal allocation for about 30 months was surviving through taxation from IGR. But Nigerians still do not believe in the process, that they believe in the fact that with what we have been taxing, Nigeria do not need to tax us more, as the case may be. Now, what are the programs that you think government should put in place to block those leakages that are expected to open up in the process that the implementation has started, especially in our borders, especially custom clearance, especially the immigration and all that. That's where the measure is. How do we block these leakages that has been there? Because 70% from statistics, 70% of government taxes before now goes into private pockets. How true and how realistic is that?
I think 70% is too large, so I don't want to talk about that, because people just talk brandish figures in Nigeria without really understanding what 70% means. The truth is, if you look at the laws seem to have blocked a lot of leakages. For instance, it has blocked the issue of multiple taxation. It has blocked the issue of collectors, because before now we have multiple collectors of taxes. So you will go to probably the airport, you will find that in that same airport, then customs will collect, NDLEA will collect, immigration will collect, everybody will collect. So now it has taken full responsibility of collection to Nigeria Revenue Service. So those customs work is no longer collection anymore. Their job is to assess and do the rest, but the collection is just that one body. So if you look at it, it has also helped to reduce cost of collection issue, because what we had when you had multiple collectors, well, there was a lot of cost of collection, but that's the only one of the easiest way for them to take back those taxes. Then also it has helped to improve investors' confidence. If I know that I'm going to do a business in Nigeria, I will not have to pay multiple taxations. It's easier for me to go in than pay one and tomorrow boys come and I don't know who I'm paying for, you know. So somehow, what we are saying is that with these laws, if well implemented, like he said, to the spirit of the spirit of the law, you'll find that a lot of persons will comply because it will reduce leakages. But remember, you cannot totally eliminate leakages, but it's to reduce it to the barest minimum. But then also, it will help us as a country to be professional in our taxation system. See, if you follow history, in most times, when people are big criminals, they can't hold them for their crimes. It's maybe taxation they will use to just hold them down. So it will help to minimize a lot of things that we just see people do here. It helps to even regulate consumption.
Can I bring you to the hot seat? Because you dragged this issue out, and it just clicked in my head. Now, I recall vividly that certain footballers have been indicted in their club sides, especially in Spain. Now, look at the variable. France is a tax-free haven. A lot of people, when you go there, you earn 1 billion a week, they don't tax you. But Spain, England, there's tax. And I have noticed that, like you said, a lot of footballers have been held especially after they leave Spain and go to other countries. You see the tax authorities coming to hunt them. And those income are supposed to be their personal income. Why are they being prosecuted? Carlos was prosecuted, Ronaldo was prosecuted, and it's always after they have left Spain that the tax authorities do investigation and they saw that they evaded tax, and those were supposed to be their tax, their personal income. That's, I don't know.
No, it's not just about Spain or France. It's the difference with those countries out here, and that's what this law is bringing to us, is putting responsibility of taxation on you.
So nobody will force you, go and pay your tax.
So when they go to their books and check, you didn't do it. It's what destroys a lot of African American musicians in the US.
Yes.
They make the money, they spend the entire money, thinking I owe the 100%.
Yes.
Look at what happened to Anthony Joshua recently. He fought. US collected their tax. Britain collected their tax. Only Nigeria did not collect because We don't have such laws that.
Say, well, in Nigeria, they say they don't tax people in diaspora.
So what we're trying to say here is this. You see, in developed societies, businesses, I always tell my friends that do business, I say businesses are not businesses because you just have names. They are businesses because you have the structures of a business. So I cannot do business and don't even have documents of taxation.
Yeah.
This is how I don't even know how much tax my business pays. I only pay when one man comes and says I should pay for signposts. Another one comes I should pay for one thing gutter. One comes I should pay for this. No. Now what the government is trying to do is to regulate our businesses to be how businesses should be. And if we do that, you find that more persons will thrive in business.
More persons will try in business. The tax experts, accountant. I want to give you two very important questions, and I need your answers to that. Now, talking about the military. Are the military going to be taxed? No. Military, they're not going to be taxed. Why? Nigerians need to know, because they earn wages. So Nigerians need to know.
Okay, right from time, the law has been like that. First of all, before they were taxing them, they assumed that they are all in the Abuja state. Now the military, it's kind of incentive they want to give to them to ensure that they are also working well. Let me give you an example. Funny though, but in a lighter note, some 10,000 military men were employed, and suddenly they were looking for them. They all disappeared. So it's like an incentive to do. Okay, please let's keep it so that you can keep working for us.
Yes, you can keep
Apart from
working for
that,
us, yes.
there's a common line. These are people who put their lives on the line.
Yeah, that's it.
And you know it's not only the military that doesn't pay tax, it's just that we don't see. You know when foreign workers come to work for
They
World
don't pay
Bank,
us, yes,
NGO, all this,
yeah.
they don't pay
They
too.
don't pay tax.
So why would the military men who put their lives on the line to secure us be paying those things?
Now
I
let's
think
look.
it make more sense.
Let's look at an informal sector. We're looking at the creative sector, for example, and authors, musicians, sportsmen. We've talked about sportsmen. Let's look at authors, compares, comedians. Do they still enjoy, because their salaries or their remunerations are, of course, they call them. You're a DJ. You're called. Take your money. You put your money up, or you're an MC. You come 2 hours. You're paid maybe 1 million, 2 million, depending on the job. Prostitutes. I mean, you negotiate your terms. You get paid. So, are these people? Are they going to be part of the tax regimen?
Yes.
And how do you monitor them?
See, very simple.
How?
He has told it's an ICT compliance.
No, for crying out
No,
loud.
you
I
see,
come, I'm a
I want to
prostitute.
give you an
I'm
example.
coming. I need to understand very well, because people are watching. I'm a prostitute, for example. You come, you pay me 500,000, 1 million. I carry my money, I put it in my pocket after transaction. It's transactional. I go home. When I'm paying, if I have to pay it into the bank, or I keep the cash at home, how would you tax it?
Can I ask you, can I
Please
tell
do.
you, when last did you pay somebody 200,000 naira cash?
Me? No, I transfer.
Good. So even the prostitutes these days, some even carry
Oh, yeah.
POS.
Okay, let's look at the creative industry. Let's
It's
forget about
even easier with the creative to tax them.
Now, let's look at the creative industry, for example. We're looking at the issue of musicians, comedians, compares, makeup artists. You just name them. How do you?
Very easy. Very easy. See, we sat in this country. I think
You said if you that you don't care. If you, even if you
show you
transfer.
why it's easier to
Okay,
transfer.
let's go, let's-
Because remember, we've said it is revenue, income. We pass the
This
threshold.
tax issue is complex.
Now, no, it's very simple if you understand it.
Yes.
Now, look at it. Do you know I can tell you how much Davido makes on YouTube by just looking at the views? I don't need to go anywhere. Me.
Okay.
I'll just calculate. I'll tell you what he makes. Simple. If me, that doesn't have the modern technology, can tell you how he makes by looking at the views, what about the government that has all the apparatus, the banks he goes to? So you see, it's easier with it because the world has moved beyond. Come and just tell me A and B. They know. See, my bank. You know, you use your phones. Your phone's algorithm will tell you what you like watching most. You think.
course.
So is it the tax man now that wants to collect money from you that will not spend more on technology that we know how much you earn? The creative industry is making so much money, and funny enough, that is the only way they even regulate how much they make. For instance, they sell out O2 Arena. If the musician or the compere doesn't know how the capacity of O2 Arena to know how much each person pays,
we know
he
that
will be shortchanged too.
Yes, yes.
So he knows it. So
So
the guy who is paying, everybody knows.
That means
So
it's
the
a
tax man
win,
knows
win-win
it.
situation for everybody. Now let's talk. Yes,
Can
Dr.
I
Aka,
just
okay.
add to
Yes,
this
please
also?
do. Before I give you the answer.
You know, the money, the Nigerian Tax Act has a threshold for individuals. So if your money do not exceed 800,000 per annum, you pay tax. So if this money,
No, if your money do not
It's
exceed
800,000,
You
you
don't
don't pay
you
tax.
pay tax.
You will pay
If
or
it
you don't-
exceeds,
Okay,
If it
if it
okay.
exceeds 800,000,
You
you
pay.
pay tax. So the money has been entering Davido's account, and he's not keeping proper documentation because there are some sources that he gets money from that he has been taxed from those sources.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, like some on social media, they tax him before they pay the money.
Yeah, the tax.
You understand? So if he doesn't keep it, he will still pay tax. So he has to keep records, make sure that he has all the records, and once it exceeds 800,000, he will pay PIT.
Let's look at crypto businesses. Are they going? Is it possible? Are they going to be taxed? Crypto businesses. Let's.
Of course. Could be taxed.
Quite an interesting one. They're looking very difficult because the layman is. I think most of the questions that were being asked on the streets of Asaba and beyond and on social media are very well being cleared out right now. But I think we need to really.
Well, let me throw light
Yes,
on
please.
the issue. Why it's easy to tax them.
Okay.
Now, you remember these people? They don't work in isolation.
Yeah.
They do their crypto trading in exchanges, and those exchanges are regulated by the government. They are even registered with the government. So when you are making profit on those exchanges, the government is seeing. Funny enough, the exchange is the one that will remove the tax and push it to government
Thank
before
you.
you get
That's
your
all.
balance.
Simple.
Yes.
Now let's look at this. I mean, what are the new tax bands? Quite an interesting one. If you get, let's say, work between 80 to 800,000, you are not taxed. Then next, between 800,000 and 2.2 million, you are taxed
15%.
15%. 9 million, from 2.2 million to 9 million, 18%. I mean, progressively like that. Now, if I get a big surveillance package, for example, when leaving my job, like, will I pay tax on it?
As long as it is approved, we will not.
I don't understand.
Yes.
As long as the surveillance package is approved.
It is approved. That is, it's an authorized medium. For example, your pension, your gratuity.
What if the pension and gratuity, yes, is stated I will not get paid, but then what if most political appointees or politicians, when they are disengaged from politics, or maybe when they are leaving, they get severance package? That is not retirement benefit. So are such packages going to be taxed?
Yes, that was why I said when they are approved, through the approved channel. But this severance, this political thing,
Yes,
it's an amount given to you, like, thank you very much, you worked for us.
Yes.
Yes, it's an income.
So it will be taxed. Oh, quite an interesting one. If you're just joining us, we're looking at extreme issues arising from the tax policy implementation that started on the 1st of January 2026. Anita Gere and, of course, Dr. Arkham David have been seriously throwing light on that, and quite imposing has been the answers from the exposés that were presented today. And looking at the tax, so what should Nigerians, let me start with you, Arkham. What should Nigerians expect from the tax policy implementation moving forward in terms of infrastructure, or in terms of lights? What should we be expecting?
Okay. You know, when you asked a question the other time, you said how do they block the loopholes and ensure that people they get the value for the money they took from them. Now the truth of the matter is that it didn't just end, the 4 acts didn't just end there. There are some other acts that are being brought. For example, going forward, states, local governments, and federal will be publishing their budgets, and they will also be publishing their affairs. This they were not doing before. So they want to try to hold them accountable so that
No, please, let's understand the last sentence. State governments will be publishing their budgets,
Yes.
and they will be publishing their expenditure.
their affairs.
What is
Yes,
their affairs?
that is income and
Expenditure.
expenditure. Yes,
They will not be publishing it.
Yes, yes.
It was not happening
It
before.
wasn't happening
yes.
before.
So
Yes.
we would know how you spent the budget
Yes.
that was presented to the
Yeah,
assembly. That's
yeah.
a good one. Our
Yeah.
listeners are
so,
hearing.
So
that.
with that, of course, if you say you are supposed to use 1 billion for infrastructure, and at the end you are seeing something else in your, and of course you know it has to be audited first. So the integrity of the auditor comes to play. The integrity of the auditor comes to play. I think they are working on that to ensure that whatever the auditor is giving as his opinion is true and fair.
It's true and fair. Igere, let's look at the implications of situations like this.
If the law is implemented and there's huge compliance and our tax system improves improves our dust collection, because we have one of the poorest in the world,
Yes.
if it improves, it means that it will reduce our borrowing capacity, that our penchant for borrowing. Because when you have enough, what you are taking from outside reduces. So that's one very important thing that this is likely to cause. Then also, it will increase individuals' participation in governance. Because if they are collecting from me, as against when I was circumventing the system, I will be more watchful about what they use it for. So you understand? And then it will also really control a lot of our behaviors, because we spend so much in this country without thinking why we are spending those things. So in countries where you pay right taxes, you don't spend the way we spend. The way we drink
One person
beer,
will buy, yes.
the way we drink beer, especially in
Nigeria.
Nigeria, I'm wondering like,
The way we buy cars in Nigeria, one
no,
person
we
will
really
have
don't buy
multiple
cars, we buy second-hand cars, so I don't want
No, they are with politicians.
No, they don't buy cars.
We buy second-hand
They
cars.
don't buy cars.
But
You
buy
don't,
cars.
you don't, if you talk about buying cars, go and check how many, they don't buy 2 million cars in Nigeria in the years. We don't buy cars. So, but we buy second-hand used cars, 20 years.
But we still spend money to buy
Yes,
cars.
but what I'm trying to point out,
We're talking of, yeah.
I'm talking of consumables. Have you gone to a beer party? Have you gone to a 1-year-old party, and when you see they are just serving alcohol in a 1-year-old
Party.
baby's party?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of.
So if we pay right taxes, you won't do what you do. You will, because when you look at the cost of
You
that
need to
quality-
You need to. Our listeners need to get you right. I mean, what's the correlation about
taxing
coming?
and parties.
The parties drinking on the 1-year
Let me
party.
tell you why- let
So
me tell you
how
the
can
issue.
you say if we pay
Can
right
I tell you
taxes?
the issue?
No, yes, you will tell me. Pay right taxes to reduce the consumption.
Yeah.
Please tell us.
Now, what's the percentage of VAT?
Well,
7.5%.
7.5%.
One of the lowest in the world.
Yes.
If you
One of
pay
the lowest.
in the world. Google it anywhere. That's one of the lowest
Yes,
rate of
7.5%.
VAT in the world. So, I think Ghana is doing 15%.
Now, how does
Now,
it apply?
So the issue is, that's why I say it should pay the right tax.
That means the price of beer will go up.
Of course.
Victoria.
And it's you that pays it. It's not you pay the VAT. It's your value on consumption. It's your,
Okay, that is the value on
Yeah,
consumption.
what you get for
Invariably,
yeah.
as you're telling our viewers that if you are going to be buying 3 cartons of beer, if you
you might buy one.
You might buy
or
one
and
or
a
two.
half.
Please.
If
Is
that
that
does not
realistic?
increase.
Please.
VAT was not increased though.
Please,
Yes, was not increased.
I would like to say here
Please
so that
do.
the audience will not start getting apprehensive.
Because people start holding
Because
beer now.
what is happening here? The truth of the matter is that the reason for this law is not to make things more expensive.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
The reason for the law is to broaden the tax net so that people pay less, but you have more people paying into the coffers of the government.
Yes.
That's the reason. And so we hold, just as he said, that if you pay tax, you will want to see what the money is used for. Fine. Also, there's still some agitation of increasing the VAT rate, rate. But also note that they are not doing so now because they want to do it in such a way that it will not really be shown. It won't. Yes, it won't show.
Because immediate impact.
Yeah, immediate impact. Why? Because they know that they have poor people in Nigeria.
More
Poor people in Nigeria. In fact, there is this. People have to now start asking, how much should a poor man be rated in a day? What he gets, and they said it's $3. So if you don't get up to $3 in a day, you are among the poorest of the poor. So right now, even as it is, that minimum wage is not
up to.
Yes, can I tell you, it's not. Let's not just talk much because minimum wage is supposed to be 70,000. If you multiply 70,000 by 12, it's not 800,000. It's 840,000. So if you earn minimum wage, you might even be taxed.
For the 40,000 of,
Yes.
not the 800.
Yes, for the 40,000.
40,000. that's-
Okay, for the 40,000.
Yeah. So we are not even talking of minimum wage now. It's
So
less than minimum. So they are not doing it to punish the people. So we have to be careful. Oh, beer, my brother. You know that people like beer. No. So,
Because I can see behind the scene, I mean, some people were not happy with that
no,
pronouncement.
that's not the intention.
Yes, that's not the intention. So I must admonish you to calm down. That it's not going to be applicable to your liquor content moving forward. Rounding up the studio, let's look at what would you advise Nigerians basically moving forward, Zigiri? And I mean, 1 minute each, please. what would they advise Nigerians on this tax reform?
Nigerians should take their time to try and read the attempt, just try, and don't consume too much of social media, because what you see in social media is even easier if I'm somebody on social media to post the negative, because it gives me more clicks. They are all trying to make money. So when you look at the contentious issues, they are not concerned about the veracity of that issue. They just need you to watch, to give clicks. So, and even if you are somebody who gets your information from social media, look for verifiable people who are, you know, who you can trust to give you the truth. Otherwise, everything you see, most of the things you see there are not true.
Okay, get a tax consultant to clarify things. Secondly, ensure that you accept this tax law. The reason being that if this letter of this law aligns with the spirit, we are good to go.
No, if the letter of the law aligns with the spirit, there's one area we didn't touch, the one informal sector we didn't touch. What I call them, agberos. Let's look at them. How agberos? How are they going? Because looking at most of the states and at the federal level, we have a lot of multiple taxation on our highways. We have different task forces, all seem to be claiming to generate revenue for the government, but invariably for their pockets. How do we streamline the excesses of and their crude ways of applying their nomenclature calls for question, and it contradicts the policies of the tax reform.
Talking of that would be the purview of the state government, because most of these people issue on the streets actually emanate from state governments.
Yes.
They give them contracts, and if this contract, like the beautiful thing about the law, you know, there's now a joint tax board, or how they call it.
Joint revenue
board, yeah. So if at that point, that is their duty to ensure that these multiple things you have on the road are removed, but the state governments must show willingness to lift these things up.
Yes. And I think you hope the state government, as he said, the Joint Revenue Board is supposed to align the federal collection, state collection, and local government collection. Some states are already buying into it. Lagos State is saying, okay, we're going to buy into that. Ikoku State also has already bought into it. So if they do, that means that it will automatically clear this agro of the thing.
Yes, still on the agbero issue before we leave the studio, let's look at the propensity for multiple taxation. We have seen certain situations, for example, on an individual or a business pays tax to the federal government, state, and local government in the same, maybe in a state. Some people will come out and say they are agents of federal government, they want to collect tax, agents of state government will come, and agents of local government will come on the same issue. So will this tax reform block those excesses?
That is the intention. That's the intention. That's why state must buy into it. The intention is to harmonize these multiple taxes. For example, CIT now, you pay company income tax, you pay development levy that covers every little thing that you would have paid. So the intention is to ensure that we harmonize this thing. So going forward, once the state buys into it, it simply means that all this multiple taxation will cease. It's automatic.
30 seconds, one last word. Now, if finally we're actually going to be taxing, we're going to be streamlining the excesses of multiple taxations arising from the different agents of government on the streets taxing people. What plans do you think the government has? Will there be plans to create jobs? Because that is the job creation of some state governments for these boys. Because if you take away that tax and bring it into one system, it becomes difficult, and you get these boys back to the street. Are we looking at the pros and cons?
No, it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
Now, you see, what happens is that, like we said earlier in the discussion, there are lots of leakages.
Yes.
Even the boys are not even getting as much as they think, because they collect the money today. The government too doesn't get. Everybody is just making everywhere. What happens here is this: there are states where, I want to just give a number, a hypothetical number, where probably now they are collecting 500 million and they think it's huge. But as it is now, if they go with this joint revenue system, those states that were collecting 500 million, thinking it's huge, they might be collecting 1.5 billion. I'm like, oh. So if those states truly want the good of those boys, they can get them by some other means. Then also, in terms of job employment, really, there are a lot of tax people that were not employed.
Yes.
So you see, it has created room for a lot of tax consultants now that will, rise up, and so many things will be done.
Where can I just say this?
So
That's 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
10 seconds, please.
Please let us note that the job of the government is not to create jobs.
Okay.
So the government is to create an enabling environment for people to create jobs.
Thank you very much. If you've just joined the faculty, well, sorry you came in late. This faculties today has been explosive. We've looked at, we've been explaining issues arising from the new tax law. So many questions were being asked, and I'm sure our panelists have given us the best answers that could have come out of those questions. But most importantly, the ending salvo there was, it's not the government's responsibility to create jobs. It's the government's responsibility is to create an enabling environment that attract investors to come create jobs. Good afternoon once again. The faculty will return to, I must let you out, sorry, I want to thank you, our panelists. Thanks for coming on the program. It's Gary, and of course, Dr. Akan David, thanks for coming on the program. The faculty will return to the studio again tomorrow. Make sure you stay tuned. Good afternoon.